Welcome to all participants of International Youth Contributor Summit. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished speakers, Ambassador Pasporn Sangasubana, Permanent Representative Thailand to ASEAN, Dr. Yang Miang, Executive Director of Asean Foundation, Bapak Rias Januar Putra Saihu, Director of Asean Social and Cultural Cooperation, Indonesian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Saleh Baziat, CEO of Nama Foundation, Ibu Dewi Nur Aisyah, Member of Indonesian COVID-19 Task Force Team, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the first session of International Youth Contributor Summit 2020 or IYCS 2020. My name is Afina Nadila Widarsa. I'm alumni of the Rumah Kepemimpinan. I will be serving as your host and moderator of the first session of this event. Before we begin the event, to open the IYCS 2020, let us hear the Indonesian National Anthem Indonesia Raya as is organized by Rumah Kepemimpinan, an Indonesian-based NGO, followed by the ASEAN Anthem. For the committee, please. Now the ASEAN anthem. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for taking your time to hear the Indonesia Raya and ASEAN Anthem. We are glad to be here today through this Zoom online platform to help the IYCS 2020. The IYCS 2020 is held to gather young people of ASEAN to discuss certain themes rise and try to find solutions to the current problem discussed at each session. This event invited up to 1,000 participants across ASEAN member states and served as a platform to connect young contributors, civil society activists, and remarkable speakers in ASEAN. IYCS 2020 is organized by Rumah Kepemimpinan in collaboration with the Asean Foundation. Rumah Kepemimpinan is Indonesian non-profit organization which concerns and engage in leadership development, education, and youth issues in Indonesia by providing scholarship and trainings for talented youth in several cities across the region in Indonesia to become future leaders. The ASEAN Foundation is a non-profit institution at the level of ASEAN that carries the mission to commit to promoting ASEAN awareness through people-to-people interaction and collaboration with ASEAN stakeholders to build a caring, cohesive, equitable, and peaceful ASEAN community. For this session, and for the whole event, all the participants can contribute to express their opinion in campaign.com by installing the apps campaign.com, campaign.com, and then search for the hashtag ASEAN for Change and post your best photo. So we can have more discussions through this online platform. In this connection, we also would like to thank several organizations who support the IYCS 2020. Those organizations are Sia.co, campaign.com, and Rumah Millennials. At this first session of the IYCS 2020, we will discuss the theme on how ASEAN youth and civil society will survive and take the advantage of the current pandemic COVID-19 condition. This session will explore the facts about COVID-19 and its impact in the ASEAN region, especially for youth and civil society. And then we can learn what is the most valuable lesson learned from this pandemic situation, and what should we do as the part of the ASEAN youth and civil society to take a stand together and take the advantage from this situation. To ensure this event to run smoothly, I would like to share with you all the rules for the participant of this event. For the committee, you may share the slides of the rules and do's and don'ts. Okay. Okay. So I think there will be rules that will be written in the chat room. So maybe all the participants can then read all. To begin the session, I would like to introduce the first speaker for the opening remarks, Her Excellency Ambassador Pasporn Sangasubana. Her Excellency Pasporn currently serves as the permanent representative of Thailand to ASEAN since 2017. She was the chair of the Committee of Permanent Representative of ASEAN in 2019 when Thailand held the ASEAN chairmanship. Prior, she was the Deputy Director of the Department of ASEAN in the Thailand Ministry of Foreign Affairs. She was graduate from the Sophia University, Tokyo, and then pursued her master degree at the MA in International Affairs from Ohio University, Athens, USA. She has been awarded with the Knight Dan Cross First Class of the Most Exalted Order of the White Elephant in 2014. Without further ado, I would like to kindly invite Ambassador Pastorn to give her opening remarks for 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, for the short introductory CV about me. Well, Executive Director of Asean Foundation, ladies and gentlemen of the ASEAN Youth, a very good morning to you all, and Sawasdee Ka. It is my pleasure to be speaking to you at the International Youth Contributor Summit, and on a very apt and timely topic of how ASEAN youth and civil society will survive and take advantage from the pandemic. As of 20 July this year, there have been over 14.5 million cases of COVID-19 worldwide, with over 600,000 deaths attributing to the disease. Wow, it's very scary. The ASEAN region has not been spared from the reach of COVID-19. Given that ASEAN's central and important role in the global movement of trade, travel, and social exchange. Over 150,000 positive cases of COVID-19 have been reported in ASEAN. While we are fortunate enough that number of cases is not as high as in other regions, the economic and social impacts on our region and our peoples have been immense. The International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, has made downward revisions to the global growth outlook. In March, the IMF announced that the global economy will turn into a recession this year. You may also have heard that the COVID-19 induced recession is one of the worst the world has ever seen. I myself have lived long enough to witness the Tom Yam Goong crisis in 1997, and this is even worse hit. In ASEAN, most ASEAN member states have seen their GDP increase considerably year on year. The road to recovery will be long and difficult, since this affects people from all walks of life and in every sector of the economy. With this rather bleak and sad situation we are now, let me take this opportunity to provide a brief overview of how ASEAN has been relevant to our ASEAN citizens and respond to the pandemic. Since the start of the outbreak, as soon as it received the report from China early in January, unexplained pneumonia, the ASEAN health sector immediately responded to the threats of a growing disease outbreak. ASEAN stepped up national responses and regional cooperation. Because the virus was new to everyone, and there have been data and information gaps and disorganized, this provide a place for regional health mechanism to come in and support national measures to respond to the gaps, as well as provide knowledge and information exchange with no fake information in a timely manner. Throughout the pandemic, we have also learned one important thing. Any one country cannot address the looming pandemic alone. Led by Vietnam as the chair of ASEAN this year, ASEAN has met virtually among ourselves and with our partners to find ways to further cooperate in the fight against COVID-19. On 14 April this year, the Special ASEAN Summit on COVID-19 was held via an online platform to discuss ways to enhance cooperation. The meeting agreed with Thailand's proposal to establish the COVID-19 ASEAN Response Fund to help provide financial support to facilitate cooperation against COVID-19. We also moved very quickly to try preserve supply chain connectivity to ensure that the flow of essential goods, including medical, food, and essential supplies, remain uninterrupted. ASEAN also held the Special ASEAN +3 Summit on COVID-19, as well as other high-level meetings with our dialogue partners, with the aim of strengthening cooperation on the fight against COVID-19 and minimizing socio and economic impacts. We are now actively engaged among ourselves, government sector, private sector, health sector, youth, and CSOs on ASEAN recovery plan. We don't leave anyone behind. What I have been just said illustrates that ASEAN has been keeping ourselves informed and updated. We have been adapted very quickly to new methods of work and sought to strengthen our cooperation among ourselves and with our partners to fight the common threat. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no denial that youth of today holds the world's future. As driving force of the region, I wish to build on the account of ASEAN response to the pandemic with the proposed 3 A's, which I hope that it will be a handy cool tip that enable you to emerge from the pandemic with strength to cope with whatever life challenges you in the new normal. They are awareness, agile, and advancing partnership. On the first A, awareness, we need to be aware of ourselves, our community, and our world. It would be a big cliche to reiterate how important education is, but what I want to stress is what knowledge is never static. What was true yesterday may not be relevant today, and what is firmly grounded today may turn quite wobbly and uncertain for tomorrow. The pandemic has illustrated this very clearly. Treatments improve as days went by. We have become more aware of the virus, and thus we become better at tackling it. Awareness has been the key to saving lives. Thus, continuing to improve on our awareness by keeping ourselves updated and well-rounded is ever more important. This is even more relevant as we live through the new normal, which many of you will become your normal. The new coronavirus has made a strong case for the need to keep learning. However, only self-awareness is not sufficient, given the intricate and intertwined world we live in. Many of us live alone in a nuclear family that is easy to forget that we do have an effect on others. I wish to emphasize the importance of developing a sense of social awareness, the ability to understand and empathize with others, especially those around us. Sharing information and knowledge so that we know what works well and best for our society is something individuals and social society organizations have a major role to play. Here, ASEAN Secretariat and ASEAN Foundation play an important role, especially through its websites. The second A refers to agile. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, we were faced with intensifying economic and political competition at the international level. disruptive technology affecting our daily lives, and climate change and other environmental concerns, such as marine debris and transboundary haze pollution, degrading ecosystem that name for a few. The pandemic has added to the uncertainty. The solution is for the youth to be agile, adapt, and take best use of the situation. How do we do that? I suggest that by constantly widening and sharpening your skill, sets to be able to take on new opportunities and respond to economic and social disruptions. Learning new languages is an example that counts as an activity that widens your skill. But what if you are well versed in digital technology? What more can you do? I'm sure many of you are born with all these high technology devices. You all know how to use them, but it may be better still to learn how to use such technology to extract key data and make it useful to help elevate poverty in communities and society at large. This is an example of sharpening your skill set. I believe that Executive Director of Asean Foundation can tell you more about ASEAN Data Science Explorers and many other programs run by Asean Foundation that focus on this area. Last but not least is the third A, advancing partnership. As pandemic has shown, we cannot tackle the problem alone. One person wearing a mask cannot prevent an infection from spreading through a community. All of us need to play our parts. We all need to cooperate. In addition to this, COVID-19 has had a tendency to marginalize vulnerable groups in society in an unprecedented scale. In Thailand, for instance, a number of poor households has suffered from the lack of income due to necessary measures to prevent the spread of virus. In response, civil society, especially through voluntary groups, have played a role in elevating their suffering, from encouraging those who have more than others to voluntarily put food in the happiness sharing cupboards for those in need to freely take. Beyond this, youth can work with civil society in the form of focus groups to increase awareness of their communities, helping them with development of specific skill sets that suit their ways of life. And remember, don't shy away from what you have done best, thus making them more agile to better adapt to the changing circumstance. This can also be extended to other socio-economic issues, such as poverty, climate change, and degrading ecosystems. Please continue with your efforts like environment conservation, marine debris, and waste management. These issues are very challenging in this time, with waste from one-use masks and protective gears that are now starting to clog our rivers and float around in the coastal seas. Furthermore, as the pandemic has accelerated digital transformation in many parts of the world, I would like to urge all the youth in the virtual audience to take advantage of the ease of connectivity to advance partnership to drive meaningful changes that will provide solution to many of the world's problems. Ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic is not over, and in fact, it will be with us for quite some time. Yet, it has already left us with a number of lessons learned. For all of us, especially the youth, to thrive, I have suggested the 3 A's: awareness, agile, and advanced partnership. Keeping ourselves informed and being aware of the situation will allow us to be agile in order to embrace opportunities and respond to challenges that life throws at us. Together with advancing partnership with our friends around the world, through digital technology, we will be able to realize our common goal of making this world and our region as ASEAN a better place for many generations to come. I wish to thank Rumah Kepemimpinan and Asean Foundation for organizing this International Youth Contributor Summit. This platform is an excellent opportunity for us to exchange experiences and learn from each other so we can build an even stronger foundation of all of us, particularly in ASEAN, our own region, to thrive in the post-COVID world together. Thank you very much, and Kapun Ka.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Pasporn Kapun Ka, for the very thoughtful remarks. Maybe we can clap together online for Her Excellency very insightful remarks that she delivered main points that we should aware on. We have 3 A's in here for the ASEAN youth to act. The first one to cope with this pandemic situation, we have to strengthen our social awareness, and then we have to be agile, and also we have to advance partnership with the ease of the technology, and also many things that actually many problems that stand still, like environmental problems, marine debris, that we have to take care of all things. And we believe that youth in ASEAN can do it together. And if I may summarize that, Ambassador Pasporn has shared that ASEAN has already take many things in to cope with the pandemic of COVID-19. And one of the things that I noticed, the ASEAN is setting up the COVID-19 ASEAN Response Fund and the ASEAN Recovery Plan of this pandemic, which also include youth, because no one left behind in ASEAN. For this, I would like maybe the committee will have the token of appreciation for Ambassador Pasporn Sangasubana, please. Okay, this is the digital placard for Ambassador Pasporn. So, okay, we can clap together. Thank you very much, Ambassador Pasporn, and for the insightful message also. We cannot fight the COVID-19 alone, so we have to stand together. Thank you. Ambassador Pasporn, if your time allows, you may stay here to join us in the discussion, but if not, you may leave the room. Thank you very much. The next session is the discussion sessions. We have the 4 remarkable speakers here, and each speakers will have 10 minutes to present his or her views on the theme. And also after that, we will have a question and answer session that you can join together to discuss and ask things that we will share for this theme. Okay, let us begin the discussion session. The first one, I will introduce the first speaker, Bapak Rias Januar Putra Saihu. Our Bapak Rias is currently served as the Director for ASEAN Social Cultural Cooperation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia. He joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia in 1995, and he earned his bachelor's degree in international law at the University of Indonesia and continued his studies at the master's degree at the School of Advanced of International Studies in Johns Hopkins University, USA. He has served the ministry for 25 years, and he was posted in several Indonesian missions abroad in Vienna, Washington, D.C., and Brussels. Without further ado, I will kindly invite Bapak Rias to present and his view on this theme. Please, Bapak Rias.
Okay. Sorry, can you hear my voice now?
Yes, Pak, it's clear.
Yeah, sorry, I have to start again, I think, right? Because it was mute before.
Yes, right.
All right, okay. All right, Her Excellency Ambassador Pasporn Sangasubana, distinguished speakers, Dr. Yang Miang, the Executive Director of Asean Foundation, Dr. Saleh Bazat, from the chairman of the Nama Foundation, as well as Dewi Nur Aisyah. First and foremost, a very good morning, and allow me to thank the organizer of the International Youth Contributors Summit 2020 for inviting the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia to participate in this important event. I'm pleased to represent the ministry on this occasion, and I feel honored to be to speak in this forum. In the next slide, please. Yes. Youth participants, ASEAN has dedicated 2020 as the year of ASEAN identity. The plan is for our ASEAN leaders to adopt the narrative of ASEAN identity this year. I hope you can still move to the previous slide. Not many people are aware that the word identity, which was first stated in the Bali Concord 2003 document, becomes a terminology often used by ASEAN in every important document, and ultimately becomes ASEAN motto: one vision, one identity, one community. However, the word identity itself has never been defined. How do we define the identity in our ASEAN motto? If you go to the next slide, many people believe that the identity element has already been stipulated in Article 2 of the ASEAN Charter regarding principles. The ASEAN members agreed to uphold these principles, which are identified as the ASEAN Way. ASEAN identity was constructed with the establishment of ASEAN in 1967. Through Bangkok Declaration, ASEAN envisioned to achieve economic growth, social progress, and cultural development, which will contribute to the establishment of regional peace, security, stability that we all have experienced for the last 53 years. In the next slide, please. As far as I understand, defining your identity is very important. It is basically your strength to know who you are heading towards, both as an organization or as a community. This narrative is basically a self-reminder that ASEAN community building process is a journey. The values shared by ASEAN member states have been in existence in Southeast Asia countries long before the establishment of ASEAN. This acculturation process later became our DNA as a pluralistic community that appreciates and respects diversity. ASEAN identity is not just constructed values, but also the inherited values that the people of Southeast Asia ascribe to, which have been passed on for generations through the natural process of human interaction with the ability to select, to adopt, and to adapt. Southeast Asia is and has always been a resilient community. So, youth has an essential role in creating resilient ASEAN. Understanding ASEAN identity will enhance our sense of belonging and we feeling, which will lead to the creation of an exceptional ASEAN community. So if you go to the next slide, I would also like to show you the other strength of ASEAN youth. The youth of ASEAN is approximately 30% of the total ASEAN population, which roughly equals 213 million people. The figure illustrates the advantage of ASEAN. If you can go to the next slide, please. So I'm not going into details on statistics on youth programs. I hope Dr. Yang Miang would explain further on this subject. But my point is that the future of ASEAN is in the hands of you all. I'm of the view that our effort to strengthen and foster ASEAN identity should address the ASEAN youth. The Indonesian Foreign Minister, Ibu Retno Marsudi, in various occasions always stated that she has always been the proponent of youth as the promoter of ASEAN identity. So now, when realizing your strength, both in quantity and quality, youth could be able to overcome any challenges ahead of you, including the COVID-19 pandemic. So if we go to the next slide, I think Ambassador Paspon Sangasubarna has already explained about what ASEAN has done. And certainly ASEAN has committed to address COVID-19 pandemic and its socioeconomic impact. And I'm not going to to elaborate more because you have heard from the ambassador already. Perhaps you can just go to the other slide. This is just to give you only an idea that this pandemic has impacted all aspects of our social well-being and welfare. If you can go to the next slide, please. Starting health in the front line and followed by disaster management, labor, education, the protection of women, children, and vulnerable groups, as well as information. If you go to the next slide, please. This is also has been explained by Ambassador Paspon Sangasubarna, so I'm not going to elaborate further, but I think we all are aware that the new economic condition has also impacted the youth of ASEAN, as the ASEAN Economic Development Bank in April has predicted the Southeast Asian region economy only grow about 1% in 2020. But then we heard again another development as of June 2020 that the economic growth in ASEAN is predicted be sharply decreased into minus according to the IMF World Economic Outlook report. I think this next slide would be much more interesting to all of you. So the COVID-19 is not the first pandemic for ASEAN. There were various types of viruses, mainly transmitted by animals, or we call it zoonosis, such as SARS, MERS, Ebola, and Zika. Therefore, I think it is important for youth to understand the relationship between biodiversity, zoonosis, as well as the potential socio-economic impact of the pandemics in the future. According to the report of the ASEAN Center of Biodiversity and the ASEAN Secretariat, zoonosis is a disease originated from animals, including wild animals that can be transmitted to humans. Therefore, youth could play an essential role in preventing a pandemic from the virus through joint efforts to adopt One Health approach, support the protection of ecosystems in our region, mainstreaming biodiversity in daily life, and enhance cooperation among youth in ASEAN. So besides having an impact on health, as well as people's social economic lives, therefore prevention's effort based on integration between biodiversity approaches and socioeconomic policies are deemed necessary. So in the next slide, there are basically two slides. I just want to give you briefly, share with you youth volunteerism. I think Dr. Yang would also explain about this, but I think youth volunteerism proves to have huge contribution to the community. Volunteerism has direct economic impact. Volunteerism can be directed to help bring safety and security to the community. Research and innovations has also been exercised by youth in dealing with the pandemic. Domestic production like ventilators or robot medical assistant like it has been done by universities in Surabaya, for example, could help also medical workers in handling COVID-19 patients. So to end my presentation, I would like to once again convey some important points. First, youth plays a critical role to face challenges such as COVID-19 or any other pandemics in the future. Number two, understanding and realizing your identity will give the strength and capacity to overcome challenges together. Number three, taking a large part of ASEAN population, youth of ASEAN will definitely contribute and accelerate socio and economic recovery. And last, ASEAN youth shall maintain and increase the value of togetherness through active volunteerism, direct involvement in social movements and technological development, the protection of our environment, and the promotion of healthy lifestyle. I think I would stop my presentation now and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Bapak Rias, for your very insightful presentation on how youth can contribute to handle this COVID-19 pandemic in ASEAN. I would like to reiterate some points that you've mentioned before. The first one that as the ASEAN is currently developing a narrative of ASEAN identity in which we base the value of what we have and inherited values from like gotong royong or cooperate and togetherness. The youth has essential role in ASEAN to make ASEAN as a resilient community because youth can do anything. And we have more than 200 million youth in ASEAN. This is a capital for the future of ASEAN that we can also utilize. And for this pandemic situation, I think the youth volunteerism is also encouraged and we can hand in hand together to cope and to take advantage of this from this current situation. Thank you once again. Terima kasih Bapak Rias. The next speaker is Dr. Yang Miang. I will have okay, that's a clapping sound. Okay, next speaker is Dr. Yang Miang. I will introduce a brief biography of her. Dr. Yang Miang is currently serves as an executive director of the Asean Foundation. Previously, he was working in a private and government sectors in Malaysia for over 26 years. She was most recently the senior vice president of the Alpha Corp, and then she was led the development and execution of Blocknomic Expo 2019. And then prior that, she was also the CEO of the GameView, the largest mobile game publisher in Malaysia. Before moving the private sector, Dr. Yang spent 19 years working as the business development manager at Malaysia Digital Economic Corporation. Aside from her professional work, she's also the co-founder and president of the Spina Association of Malaysia, as well as the president of the World Game Blockchain Association. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Yang Miang to deliver her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Your Excellency Ambassador Paspon, my boss. And then also, hi, Riaz, Pak Riaz. Has been long time, like January I met you. And thank you, Avina, for moderating this morning sessions. And good morning to all, everyone who attended this morning session. I actually quickly pulled something that relevant to our discussion this morning, because as what I wanted to embrace, I actually like what Ambassador Paspon has shared. She always come up with something very techy, very easy to remember. 3 A's. So awareness, agile, and advancing. Exactly what the youth need to do right now. Actually, there is a remedy. She already give you the medicine. So you just need to implement the medicine and take it on time. So without further ado, let me just share a little bit of PPT. PPT can keep my discussion a little bit more control. If not, I'll go far away. So I try to actually full screen, yes. So actually, a special thank you also to Rumah Kepemimpinan because of organizing this very important session, because we need to actually talk about this and discuss how to move forward also. And partnership is definitely the future. We can't move alone, and especially with the lockdown and with the limitation of movement, we have to rely on our partners. And our partners is always the local partners. So the 10 countries partners, the local partners, the government, the CSO, and also youth organizations. We really have to step in front and come forward and even approach any of us to do some partnership programs. So actually, even before COVID-19, there is already, youth already face 3 times more likelihood of unemployment. So just to give you this scenario, so a lot of time we like to also blame COVID-19 for creating the havoc in our life, definitely. So it disrupts, and now humans are known to be very adaptable. So use our very high skill adaptability like a chameleon to actually survive in this time. The key is to actually stay alive, because that is the key, to be healthy and to stay alive. With that health, you can do more. Without health, you can't do anything. So even with the World Bank sharing, the reporting says that 9.1% of youth unemployment in this region. Simply because of what? Because of many, many issues like their knowledge and what they are learning in the universities and all that. It's not moving fast enough to change the skill. So agile and adaptability is actually questions there. A big question is being put there. So of course, the biggest distractions right now, because youth like meet friends and get together. We don't talk about social now, but we talk about the main 2 things, which is educational and employment disruptions. So educational, many youth are not able to go to class, so they have to actually do the new normal way. I think another few more months from now, we cannot say new normal anymore. It will be a normal life already. So it's no longer new. So hopefully within this 1 year, I think we are giving about 1 year until next end of this year and next year, early of next year. Everyone should be able to get used to their new life, or we call it normal life. So everything starts with something. Something have to push something to happen. So now we have COVID-19 to push the biggest disruptions in our world, which is digitalization and transformations. In fact, from my previous experience in Malaysia Digital Economy, corporations, we have been trying to push everybody to go digital transformation, but we face a lot of challenges that time. Nobody really wants to transform. So with this COVID-19, people have no choice. It's a must already if you want to move forward. So if you don't want to left behind, you have to move forward with digital transformation. So what can we do during this pandemic time? Of course, we highlight a lot on tech-based youth engagement. we try to be in the social media, because the best way, the only way now is by social media platforms. So we try to have many activities. We turn our programs, I think basically about 80 to 90% already online. The remaining 20% is still in the customizing, because we wanted to try something different a bit. Because if it's constantly like a webinar session without much interactivity and communication between networking, between participations between the participants, it might actually lost the tractions a long time, because there's too many webinars around right now. So we also wanted to connect youth with supportive community. Means that we as humans, we are known to be social being. We can't live alone. So we need to be connected. So by using technology, we can try to connect all the youth in ASEAN, and also with our partners and we government, CSO. So we hope that the communication and the connections can enhance and give people more, can keep people at the sanity intact, you know. So you are always not alone. So we also wanted, we also wanted to do it because of, we want to keep the youth to be optimistic. Because when you are alone at home sometimes, we know that we will keep thinking, our thinking about what's going to happen, and also our mind plays a lot of tricks that we're going to go for psychological problems, depressions and all that. So this part of it, actually, we are still doing something and see what we can recommend. And then we also wanted to provide training opportunities. These are really important sections of it. In fact, these are supporting our ASEAN Youth Plan 2015 to 2020. And then also on the SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, which UN Sustainable Development Goal, we are actually embracing this more right now, especially the go-to and all for education side. So we also think that why is it important to highlight on the tech base? Simply because youth are actually energetic, creative, innovative, and digital savvy. The one that having problem at the first time when the COVID-19 hit us on the March, I think, when it hit every country in the regions, is mainly suffered by, above youth age, I think, because doing things internet and digitally is not our usual practice. We love to meet people, my age group and all. We love to meet people. We love to meet friends, go and shopping, see movie, and have something to eat, together. So, but now we can't do it. But in terms of youth, they can actually adopt to it because their lifestyle has always been this. So the one that making noise is actually more on non-youth, I think. So for youth, I don't think they have issues to adopt and not be agile. So it is part of you already. You're born with that generations. So we wanted to have a technology to allow youth to do awareness, solidarity, and donate and support each other. Because I think youth, they know each other more. So we don't want to condescend and or patronize young people to do something because they have their own mind sometimes and they're doing things differently. So we also wanted to advocate for better future because you are this world is going to be yours in the future. So how do you want to mold and build your world? This is a good time for you. It's an opportunity for you because everyone is opening up their platform and telling you, hey, we want to hear from you. So including Asean Foundations and ASEAN side, we have a lot of youth activities and all their engagement. So come forward and share what you have in mind. And if it's usable, why not? Now is people are lacking of ideas, how to move forward because uncertainty. So, and then we also wanted to reach out to wider audience with the technology that we give to the youth, the tools, and also learn new skills and knowledge to survive, and to also grab the opportunities when it comes. Of course, for those who is unaware of what ASEAN Foundation has been doing, we are supporting the major 4 pillars actually: art and culture, education, community building, and media. Of course, at this moment, a lot of people stress a lot on education side, where we put in technology inside, transformations. So because at this moment, globally, you want to be competitive, you have to be future-ready generations. You have to know technology. It's no longer to know technology for entertainment purpose, to access to movies and music, but it is a survival kit right now. The more technology skill tools you have, the more chances of getting employed and jobs and do something to change the community. So we wanted to the youth to be our agent of change. So without knowing the skill of technology or tools, you cannot change easily. So that is the reason why we wanted to recruit and we wanted to mold and we wanted to help you to build this digital skill. And of course, some of the programs on your left side, you can, on the slides left side, you can see these are some of our key programs. And if you are looking at it, it is mainly focusing a lot on future ready skill, especially our platform on future ready ASEAN. We are launching, next week, we are launching more language, the passport. Language is also important for you to break the ice and go beyond your own territory. That means that if you can speak other language, you can do more community work and help out with more volunteerism, what's really highly stressed right now, especially with the United Nations Voluntary, UNV. They do a lot of youth volunteerism promotions. Like they wanted to create this volunteerism as one of the career path for youth. So I think this is something comes very handy at this time, because social development and social enterprising is the road that we also wanted to pave for Asean Foundation. So we have drafted and discussed with partners like USAID and GIZ, German country, to actually come out with an enterprise program for youth. That means social enterprising. And you need a couple of skills like data analytics skills for you to make a better decision and solve problems. So we have SAP, our very good partners for the past 2 to 3 years, to actually offer you new trainings. So we keep on going to university and encourage universities to come and take out these free courses. And then also ASEAN Future Ready is also a free platform. So you can go in anytime with multiple language. Now we have about 8 languages in ASEAN region. Bahasa Melayu, Bahasa Indonesia, Thai language, Vietnam language, Laos, Cambodia, Myanmar. So we are actually trying to, we actually minimize the gap of unable to communicate in English, because we can't blame. These ASEAN regions are very colorful. We have so many kinds of ethnic and culture. So we have to respect solidarity, respect, and we have one a direction together, which is to improve everybody's life. So we need to actually bridge the gap and then really settle the issues of communications. Because that's why we used to use English as the major language, but now we're trying to do something more into customized towards the needs of a different kind of community, because we serve ASEAN regions. So we also have empowering youth. Empowering youth and AFMAM is training our youth to have a very good leadership and empowering the youth to do something. So if you join this program, of course, you will be given a platform for you to actually voice up your plan, do your planning, and to also understand better how solidarity and diplomatic way of achieving decisions. We wanted to create a very harmonized community. So through all our programs that you see here, also have S&T Technology Fellowship. We have our alumni that has been put in many government agencies, science and technology, especially S&T, to build our future policies for youth. So these are the programs that we have been supporting. And of course, if you ask us, we also wanted people to embrace IR 4.0, Industrial Revolution 4.0. But for youth, we admit that the takeout for youth on IR 4.0 is still at the very beginning, infancy stage. So we wanted to promote it because these are a little bit complicated for youth to adopt and put themselves into IR 4.0, mainly because the education system has not been quick enough to actually take the technology into the education and change and mold it on time, because there are many processes for education to be approved, syllabus to be approved. So we respect the process. But now I think with the COVID-19, the government in each of the countries in region have to do things faster right now. So that is the only way we can actually bridge the gap of youth into IR 4.0. So 3 things you need to do in the IR 4.0 during this COVID-19 time. First, equip yourself with digital skills. So there's no longer a choice whether you want or not, but you have to. And be flexible and adaptability. So the 3 A's come in. Equip is actually into agile and adopt, and then also engage in the virtual world, awareness. So thanks, Ambassador, for putting all the 3 A's so I can link it up. So you have to be aware, because previously youth are doing all the things on their own sometimes. They shut down and they focus, but now you can't. You have to be alert. What is happening around you? And then what opportunities come fast, grab it. So when you are ready, the opportunity come even after COVID-19, you can immediately go into the market already. You don't have to start learning after COVID. A lot of people put aside and say, post-COVID, I think you just don't have to wait. You prepare yourself first. So exactly why COVID-19 is shocking for everyone, because we were not really prepared for this. We were so comfortable with our environment that we have never imagined we will be in this situation in our whole life. So engage and equip yourself for future, more challenge to come. I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm trying to prepare you. So of course, if you are slower, you always can still do it, but as long as you start it now, it's not too late. Sorry. So top 5 soft skills. What do you need? Apart from technology knowledge, you need to be creative, innovative, and then you need to actually able to persuade people. Now it's harder. I mean, I'm sorry to say that previously it's easier for us to persuade people. We just go to see them, sit in front of them and have a cup of coffee, and then we can persuade them. But now you have to do it online. And also, online has always have this kind of like a distance a bit. So you have more a persuasion skill you need to learn. And then collaborations, of course, if you are Lone Ranger, please start to do work together among yourself to collaborate. If you are not team player, you better actually make yourself into a team player. So this is not the time to be alone. Even though we are not supposed to meet each other, but this is not the time to be alone at all. Emotional intelligence is needed. And then, of course, I won't dwell one by one. Top 10 hard skills is the most in demand, hard and soft skill. This is actually by LinkedIn because they have done some data compilations. So thank you very much for your time and focus. So if we have anything, we will take it later. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yang, for your insightful presentation. Actually, I take note several things that we as youth should prepare in the future. The first one is the adaptability and agility, and also how we as youth can reap the opportunity of this current pandemic situation by enriching our skills, especially in digital skills, so that we could be more prepared to face the future and stay competitive even if this current pandemic situation has limit us in some ways, maybe like face-to-face meeting and something like that. And I also note that several programs have been done by and currently ongoing in Asean Foundation, right? And I think most of the participants today are eager to maybe learn more about this program later, maybe the question and answer session. And yeah, we would like to explore more on this. And also, I also took note on the importance of the language to communicate each other, because we in ASEAN, we have different background and language, and now by learning and English especially is very important for us to break the ice and start communicating and engaging each other. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Yang.
Thank you.
And then next, okay, this is the clap one. The online class. Thank you for the committee. Okay, I would like to introduce the next speaker in line, Dr. Saleh Baziat. Dr. Saleh is the CEO of Nama Foundation. As a philanthropist and strategist, as well as an analyst who embraced the principle of exemplary leaders, Dr. Saleh Baziat models behavior to inspire others. He is also a contributor to social development and change maker, especially for youth development. He believes that no one should be left out. Dr. Saleh enjoys his moment in charity work and volunteerism. Besides being a true believer in influencing the positive change through social entrepreneurship and sustainable development initiative, he is also a friendly, supportive leader who always encourages his team to learn and grow. He is an influencer in his best own ways that others will look up for. Without further ado, I would like to kindly invite Dr. Saleh to present his views on this theme. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good morning, Your Excellency, and the list of the panelists and the host audience. I'm very pleased to be with you today, and thanks to COVID-19, we are all online, even though maybe you are near to each other in the same city, but we are all online. So no differences now between countries, cities. So I'm speaking from Malaysia. So I'm like similar to those who are in the same city in Jakarta, right? I think I would like to start with thanking a lot our brothers and partners in RK and Asean Foundation for taking the lead in such event to discuss a very, very important topic, which is international youth contribution. As my colleagues have mentioned, youth actually, especially in the third world countries, or what called third world countries, are really a very big portion of the population. So which we really have to concentrate on them more. And RK is doing a very good job in Indonesia in this regard. COVID-19 actually has proved that for emergencies or even governments, and all of us have seen the reaction of big and advanced developed states actually to the pandemic. But the pandemic actually has proven that there is a strong need for collaboration, integration, coordination and has or single NGO organization or institution that can fight or so complementing each other, I think have got a very strong, solid foundation ground starting this year, collaborate and deal with each other. NAMA Foundation actually does not work in emergencies or relief activities. As you know, we are working mainly on education and socio-economic empowerment, which is actually basically community empowerment activities. However, we have had actually very ambitious plans and strategies to do this year and the next year, and hostage, you know, by the pandemic. The foundation works in three different regions: Southeast Asia region, East Africa region, and Central Asia region. And we, based on our investigation and analysis assessments, we found all these three regions reacted and addressed the COVID-19 in a very different way. And also for the resources to address the pandemic also was different from a country to a country. However, the foundation found itself, since it was not able to execute its normal strategy and interventions, we thought of not just only siding ourselves, but come forward and do something towards the pandemic. And from that, we had conducted a scientific assessment in the three regions, and we came up with three main interventions that are required for us to really address. Some of them are like emergencies, some are not. So the three are: one is medical supply in the three regions. So the first priority that we found is like a very in demand in the three regions was the medical supply to address the pandemic. However, when we cascade our investigation and assessment, we found these three regions are different actually in terms of their need of medical supply. Some are requiring ambulances, some are requiring laboratories, some are requiring sanitizers and PCR tests and all these things. So the difference also actually among the three regions was a very clear as well. The second component that which we are also found in a very need was the food supply, food and hygiene. Especially if you look at, let's say, Indonesia, for example, most of the population are like daily income employees. So once the MCO, the lockdown took place, they lost their jobs. So we have to intervene and provide some kind of food supply in different countries. The third component, which actually very important, was the education component. And this actually the core system, the main activity of the foundation, which is actually education. And we found ourselves are not able to do anything in this education. Schools are closed, universities are closed. So we tried our best to do something to ensure the continuity of the education process, even though during the pandemic. So with that, we have to really address and introduce an initiative for online learning. Initiative to ensure this our students are continue studying. And as far as the summit is youth concerned summit, I believe we alhamdulillah managed to ensure that students in our schools in the three countries are continuing their education process without hindrance. So there was a lack of online support. We tried to provide them with online support. But in the other side, the lockdown actually was an opportunity for the youth actually to give more volunteering activities, because they are not working, right? They are not studying. So I think that was a positive aspect of the pandemic, that make the youth involving more into social activities. Especially youth are very good, in technology, social media. So they actually made a very strong and very effective, let's say, fundraising campaigns, awareness campaigns to ensure the society is safe and secure, and also like surviving in terms of supply, either medical supply or food supply. As you know, some of the countries actually put some restrictions on NGO work during the lockdown because of the movement control. But I think youth at individual level played a very important role in really contributing to the society. It might not be like a financial contribution, but it was like high-tech contributions, awareness contributions, time contributions, and also effort contribution. So with that, I think as the executive director of Asean Foundation has just mentioned, that now we are not like in emergency anymore, we are in new norm. So I think what is happening now is it will continue with us. And I think before COVID-19 is not similar to, after COVID-19. Even there is, vaccination or no vaccination, life habit norm has been there for the last 5 months, and people actually already change, or adapted to the change, or the change that forced them to change their lives, working from home and studying from home, shopping from home, even seeking medication from home, through online apps and all these things. So with this new norm, I think the youth require the NGOs or all stakeholders to really, address the youth issues from a different angle. I think now, in terms of, we are talking about this education, I believe we are in need of more education initiatives to come across to support the youth, unlike the previous initiative. I think with more online, with more high-tech initiative, social entrepreneurship as well. Second, employment. Now, youth are studying, they are graduating, companies are, let's say, shutting down. What is the replacement for job losses? So I think with that, we are really required to innovate and new ideas and new interventions to provide the youth with jobs that can, for them to, can secure some income from having these jobs, let's say online jobs. They can do the job, not necessarily to be in the office. And I believe the third thing actually is actually in regard to the NGOs and to the companies. The COVID-19 has proven that those companies or those NGOs which actually lack the technology in terms of managing their daily operations face difficulty in managing their operations from home. But with those companies which enjoy a certain continue working from home. It's not all about Zoom. I can have meeting with Zoom or Google Hangouts or Skype, but about the daily operations, payrolls, M&E, programs, follow up. This, I think, requires another kind of systems that to support the NGOs, and especially, the dynamic NGOs that, have a lot of work on the field, how they can still connect and maintain their programs and are continuous, even though there is like a pandemic. The third point, actually, the fourth point was actually about the financial sustainability of NGOs of schools, of universities, and of youth-based foundations. With the pandemic, there was some kind of, the financial resources have been depleting, right? So what is the compensation? What is the replacement to this? I think this is required to be addressed very, very well. As per the study that conducted in UK last 2 months, that has proven, I think, 30% of NGOs worldwide cannot survive more than 3 months without external financial support, while 70% of NGOs worldwide cannot survive more than 6 months without external financial support. And this actually, goes across either NGOs, schools, universities. So it is a really very challenging time, and it is a very tough lesson that we have to take and to really learn from it. But the good thing in it, how we can adapt, how we can introduce actually more and new initiative to ensure that we overcome this pandemic and prepare for the next pandemics, actually, if they are to come. And there are some talks now, there are few on the pipeline, unfortunately. So how we can prepare ourselves to really ensure that our operations are continuous, sustainable throughout all times, either with MCO, lockdown, no lockdown. It is about organizational, institutional readiness. To address all these issues. I think that's all from my side. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for your insightful views and sharing about what the Nama Foundation has done throughout this pandemic. I note several things that the Nama Foundation, which operates in the 3 regions across the world, has done. The first one is supporting the medical supplies and the food supplies, and then on education. I would like to emphasize what Dr. Saleh shared to us, that the importance of the youth volunteerism. It's now time for us, the youth, to take advantage and to do more volunteerism, and also in the importance of how we can have the education sector to build in the new normal, become sustained, and is no one left behind on this pandemic situation. I think last but not least, let's just move to the last speaker. Okay, thank you for the clapping. The last speaker, but not least, or this first session, I think many of you in Indonesia already known her, Ibu Dewi Nur Aisyah, PhD. She is currently serving as an epidemiologist, as a member of the expert team of Indonesian COVID-19 task force. She earned her doctorate degree from University College London with the focus on infectious disease epidemiology and informatics. She has many awards, and also working as a committee in the Public Health Association of Indonesia. She has many publications, and previously she was graduated from Public Health faculty in University of Indonesia, and was awarded as the Mahasiswa Berprestasi Utama, or the best student of the faculty in 2009. May I kindly invite Ibu or Mbak Dewi to share her views on this topic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Afina. I would like to share the screen. Good morning, everyone. It is truly an honor for me to be with you all this morning. Let me share my screen first. Her Excellency, the Ambassador Pasporn, Pak Rias, Dr. Yang, and Dr. Saleh, it is truly an honor for me to join this forum and provide you some updates probably, especially for Indonesia, about youth and contribution. So I think a lot of the speakers have already mentioned about what can be done, what is the challenges that are facing by the youth nowadays, especially in Asia. So I would like to have another perspective of what can be done by the youth and contribution during this COVID-19 pandemic. So as we know, currently, this is based on the yesterday's update, there have been more than 15 million of people have been infected with the COVID-19 in 188 countries and causing more than 600,000 of deaths. And in Indonesia itself, the pandemic has already infected more than 95,000 of people and causing about 4.9% of death, where 56.5% of them have been recovered. If we are talking about the provinces who have the highest number of cumulative cases of COVID-19, the top 5 are East Java, Jakarta, South Sulawesi, Central Java, and West Java. We saw there is a shifting of the pandemic from in the beginning of the March. There are 3 provinces that accounted for 70% of the national cases, which are Jakarta, West Java, and Banten. But nowadays, we can see that 74 of the cases are located in East Java, Central Java still in Jakarta, and South Sulawesi. So we are seeing the shifted pandemic epicentrum in Indonesia. So I would like to give some descriptions of the lesson learned that I have been seeing for the past 5 months. What is the experience working in the National Task Force team, and I'm closely working with a lot of youth and young people in the National Task Force. So because I'm working in the expert team in the National Task Force, we know that there is a coordinator of the National Task Force, Kepala Gugus Tugas, which is Pak Doni Monardo. And then there is also the head of the expert team, which is Professor Wiku Adhisa Smito, and currently he is serving as the government spokesperson. And in the national expert team, we have 95 experts mastering in 12 or more expertise and disciplines. And the interesting thing is there are also 27 of young experts have been actively involving, helping the government to work with the national expert team across Indonesia in many diverse fields. We have public health experts, we have modeling experts, we have medical, vaccine, laboratory, health technology, IT, law, socioculture, economy, and public communication experts. And this is just a few of the young people who have been working closely with the government in the National Task Force team. This is the young expert team who have been working very fast, who have a very strong commitment and perseverance. We have been working days and nights since March 2020. It's more than 18 hours a day because there are a lot of things that need to be done. We come from a very diverse background, including medicine, public communications, data science, laboratory, law, logistics, IT, and infrastructure. And we can see the diversity in the group and in the team. This is just a few of the people. Some of them have been working from home, such as the IT young expert, as well as building the infrastructure. And then the next one, we also have a few people who have been working with the public communication team in the National Task Force. So what we have done so far, this is just a few lists of the contribution that have been made by the young expert. We produce 3 national guidelines. We review a lot of guidelines of procurement, including Galang Island, Wisma Atlet, Pademangan, Ministry of Health procurement. We also produce a list of recommendations of medical devices, working with a lot of literature and providing this is our recommendation. we have been reviewed more than 100 or 200 of medicines and medical devices that have been coming to the National Task Force. We review it, how is it can be fit with the current knowledge, as well as producing more than 21 general health protocols, including with adaptations with the new normal situations. We also improving the data reporting system and process from the hospitals. In the beginning of March, there are only 250 hospitals who have been reporting COVID-19 patients to the government, but by July, we saw a very significant increase because the numbers of hospitals that have been reporting, it has been include more than 1,750. So we can say a number of suspect cases, confirmed cases in Indonesia. And then we also fostering the numbers of referral hospital distribution across 34 provinces in Indonesia. In the beginning of the pandemic, we only have 132 national referral hospitals. It has been added into 600 more national and provincial referral hospital. Nowadays, we can see more than 800 national and provincial referral hospitals for handling the COVID-19 patients. We also helping the government by connecting the data from the hospitals with surveillance and laboratory data automatically. And we also helping to fostering the integrating the laboratory data in Indonesia. In the beginning of the pandemic, we can see the development of the numbers of laboratory that doing the testing in Indonesia. In the beginning of March, there's only one. It became 13, 44, 49, and currently in July, we can see there are a total of 166 laboratories under 11 ministries working together to improve the number of testing in Indonesia across 32 provinces. And we are also helping to synchronizing public health center, hospital, health district offices data with the laboratory for specimen testing and reporting. One of the things that probably we can also take a lesson learned, we know in the beginning of the pandemic, every country became a very chaos. Everyone's need PPE, protective equipment. So in Indonesia, we know that in the beginning, we have a very few numbers of PPE, and then we are working very hard, working together with the textile industries. And we have our own PPE made from Indonesia. So we are changing this chaotic situations, becoming an innovation that can be done by the country to produce its own PPE made from Indonesia. Within 1 month, Indonesia can produce more than 17 million of PPE for the health workers across the country and even export it into other countries. We also help working with the public communications during the public health emergency through social media, national informations, as well as International's Forum, to unifying community perceptions of COVID-19 and how to control it, and become a credible references, hopes, and public trust. The next things we've done is the contribution by young people in National Task Force. We also helping to improve the quality of data collection, data processing, data analysis of COVID-19 in Indonesia, because we do believe that data is a vital component in helping the government for battling with COVID-19 pandemic. So data can help us to have a better understanding of the current situations and better understanding how the pandemic is evolving across the country. Because the data will help for producing decisions and policies based on evidence. It will provide some insights into preventive and promotive action. We can monitor the population's mobility across districts and cities. We can evaluate the spread of the diseases. We also can build resilience of the people and system to cope with the virus. And it can help public health and the national leaders to respond more effectively based on data. Because if we know that one of the principles of surveillance is we collecting the data, we analyze the data, we disseminate the informations, we have one major objective, which is to control the disease. We will consume a lot of resources, and the only thing that needs to be done is having some actions, having policies based on data. So it will be evidence-based policies and evidence-based actions by the government. So since mid of March 2020, young people, a lot of young people in National Expert Team have been helping the government to develop an integrated information system. We call it Bersatu Lawan COVID, or in English, we call it United Against COVID. It collected data, not only from health data, but also non-health data, such as logistics. We also collected data based on population's mobility, and to provide information for the community and public to have some sense of the current situations of COVID-19 pandemic in the country. So the aim of the integrated information system is for the accelerations of data reporting system in Indonesia, because Indonesia is a very big country. It's the fourth most populous country in the world. It has 514 districts and cities across 34 provinces in Indonesia. We have 5 big major islands. We have a lot of smaller islands as well. So we know the complexity. There are more than 10,000 of primary healthcare in Indonesia. We connected more than 548 health district offices. We connected more than 1,700 hospitals into one integrated system. So BLC, or Bersatu Lawan COVID, integrates all of the data from surveillance, laboratories, and hospital data, and we clean the data, we analyze the data, we synchronize the data, and provide information in form of tables and graphic. The BLC improved the interoperability across sectors and institutions. So until yesterday, we have been collected more than 98,000 of epidemiological investigation data. We have more than 300,000 case managements from hospital data. We had more than 700,000 case confirmations from laboratories data. We also collected logistic data from laboratory and hospitals, as well as population's mobility data. So now, based on the integrated information system, we can produce a lot of graphics, tables informing the community about the COVID-19 current situations in Indonesia. We do the weekly analysis, and this is the analysis based on 19th of July 2020. So we can see the weekly cumulative confirmed cases in Indonesia, and we saw in the latest week, the number of weekly confirmed cases was decreased by 7.8%. We also monitor which provinces have a highest number of increasement. So like in Central Java, within a week, there have been an increase by almost 70% from 800 cases up to 1,400 cases. We also know the highest cumulative confirmed cases. We also know top 5 provinces with lowest cumulative confirmed cases. But after that, we also would like to have an analysis into a smaller scale. So we also analyze the data based on district or cities level across 514 districts across Indonesia. And if we are looking at the number, more than 9% of the districts in Indonesia is still unaffected by COVID-19, and about 67% of the district and cities in Indonesia have cases less than 100. And the major problem is located in 17 districts or cities where the number of cases is very high. It is more than 1,000 cases. We also look at the cumulative incidence of the cases based on the number of populations, because it will make us see and have a clear view of Indonesia by dividing the number of cases based on the number of people or number of populations in a certain area. If we are calculating based on that things, we can see that Central Jakarta, it has the highest cumulative incidence of confirmed cases per 100,000 populations, followed by Jayapura, Makassar, Banjarmasin, and Surabaya. And this is, if we want to look at the confirmed cases based on age group and based on sex, we know that it is pretty similar with the world situations where about 60% of the confirmed cases are male, where 40% of confirmed cases were female. And then we can see from the age group that then the age group who have been infected by COVID-19, most of them are in productive ages. But when we are looking at the fatality or the death, we can see that the distributions of the people who are dead from COVID-19 is majority from the people who are aged more than 46 years old, and it became more fatal in people who age more than 60 years old. This is the weekly cumulative of the mortality in Indonesia. We also calculating which provinces have the highest cumulative death. We also see the percent mortality from confirmed cases, and we can see different pictures using different measurement. And then we also calculating the mortality rate per 100,000 populations. And if we are looking at the numbers, we can see that 48% of 415 districts or cities in Indonesia have no mortality at all from COVID-19. It is accounted around 249 districts and cities without mortality. And there are only 15% of the district or cities have a high death with more than 5 deaths until 19th of July 2020. And if we are looking which district or cities in Indonesia have the highest mortality rate per 100,000 populations, the top 10 is Surabaya, Banjarmasin, Manado, Palangkaraya, Central Jakarta, Makassar, Mataram, Banjarbaru, Semarang City, and Gorontalo. And then we are also looking at the progress of the percentage of mortality in Indonesia since March up to July 2020. And we can see an improvement of the decrease of number of deaths. In the beginning of March, we can see the maximum percentage of death is around 9%. It become reduced in April, around 8%. And on May, it also decreased around 6%, and then in June it's getting lower at 5%, and in July we can see the average percentage of death from the confirmed cases is around 4.86%. And if we are looking at the percentage of recovered from the confirmed cases, we also can see a significant improvement. On March, the average of the recovery rate is around 3.8%. It increased on April around 9%, and on May it increased around 20%. On June it increased about 37%, and in July we increased up to 52% by 19th of July. We also see the recovery rate based on provinces, which provinces have the highest recovery numbers and recovery rate based on the confirmed cases. And we also analyze the risk of mortality based on age groups. And again, I would like to underline that people who are aged more than 60 years old have the highest risk of fatality of COVID-19 in Indonesia. We also see the incidence rate from provinces across Indonesia within 1 week. It is to see how fast the COVID-19 spreading in the provinces. And we can see this is based on the latest week that South Kalimantan have the highest spread of increasement of COVID-19 in the area. The second province is Jakarta, the third one is Bali, the fourth one is South Sulawesi, and North Maluku is the fifth one. And we also are looking at how fast the number of deaths increase in an area. And we can see in here, based on the latest week, Gorontalo have the highest number of increasement of COVID-19 death in the area, followed by South Kalimantan, South Sulawesi, East Java, and Jakarta. And we also see 10 provinces of Indonesia doesn't have any increasement number of death of COVID-19. Indonesia also utilizing public health indicators as navigations for risk zonations. We have 15 public health indicators, including 11 epidemiology indicators, 2 indicators of public health surveillance, and 2 indicators of healthcare facilities. And based on the latest update on 19th of July, we can see there are 35 districts or cities have high risk in red zone in Indonesia. 169 have a medium risk, 210 have a low risk, and there are 52 no additional number of cases in this area, and the recovery rate is 100%. And 48 districts or cities are still unaffected. This is the progress that have been made by 514 districts or cities across Indonesia based on risk zonation map. So we can have a lot of analysis using the integrated information system that have been developed by young people, by the youth, who have been provide a very big contributions for the country in handling the COVID-19 pandemic. And the COVID-19 weekly and data analysis can be accessed through www.covid19.go.id. Everyone can download the data analysis. We provide all of the analysis for 34 provinces every week. We usually release the update on Tuesday. So this is the end of my slide. I would like to highlight what contributions can be made by the youth in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia, in Asia, or everywhere in the world. First one, be an example. Be an example, and not only you have been implemented a very good example of yourself, be an influencer. You need to influence a lot of people around you, your friend, your family, to fostering behavior change. We need to see a very big number of behavior change of people wearing masks, washing their hands, and then physical distancing. We need to be, the second one, be an educator. Not only be an example, but be an educator for providing correct information for the people, eliminating any stigma, any false informations in community. This is what you can do. Not only be an example, be an influencer, but also become an educator. And the third one, you have a lot of knowledge in yourself. You have a lot of creativity. Be an innovator, utilizing your creativity, utilizing your knowledge that you have done, that you have until today, using technology as problem solutions, using your knowledge to provide as a problem solver. And the fourth one, play out our roles. We as the young people can do a lot of things to play out our roles, to play our part for raising awareness in the middle of community, to stop the infection and increase health promotions. And I think this is my last slide. This is a quote by Robert Kennedy. I just want to remind everyone in here, this word demands the qualities of youth, not only the youth, but the quality one, not a time of life. This is not a matter of what age you are you 20, are you teenagers, but a state of mind, how you have a very good state of mind to help the people around you, a temper of will, a very good willing to help the people, to help the government, to controlling the pandemic, a quality of imagination, using your creativity to provide a solution, and a predominance of courage over timidity. You have a lot of courage in yourself to make a movement in the community of the appetite of adventure over the loss of ease. So this is the end of my slide. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mbak Dewi Nur Aisyah, for your insightful presentations and a very detailed picture about how the pandemic COVID-19 situation in Indonesia and how as a youth we can contribute to be not only an example, but also educator, influencer, and all the good things that youth can deliver, and also how the young people can contribute even if in the very core service to combat this pandemic together as a young expert, and not only in the medical but also in all aspects and all other sectors of non-health sectors. Now I think we open up. Okay, the clap. Thank you very much. Now we come to the most exciting part of this event, the question and answer sessions. As it has been written by the committee in the chat room, we managed to have to get several questions. Maybe the committee can also help to unmute the speakers so that we can address the questions directly to the speakers. Okay, let me just pick the 3 questions first. The first one is the questions directed to Dr. Yang Miang. Actually, there's several questions directed to Dr. Yang. The first questions is from Fitriani from Indonesia. On how we can get the information about ASEAN volunteer or ASEAN activity for youth people, and what should we prepare before we join the volunteer or the activity. Maybe Dr. Yang can just answer directly. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, thank you for the questions. We do have update from time to time of our programs. Of course, we have our main website that you can always visit. It's actually ASEANFoundation.org, yeah? Because we are NGO, so we have ORG at the back. And we also have Instagram, all the social media. So all the social media platform, we have our assistant there, and then we announce our programs from time to time. So most of the time, the programs comes like by a certain period of time. So we open for participations, for applications. So after that, we also have like kind of like an interview also. So depend on the program, because if let's say if ASEAN Data Science Explorer, ADSE, that one is we work with the university sometime. And also we, last 2 weeks, we opened for application from any youth, and also between the 34 years old to 18 can actually apply and join the programs. So for programs like empowering youth, I think soon we are going to open up very soon, because we are in discussion with our partners, Maybank, on programs that we can launch online for now, because we also in the process of designing some modules that we can have interactivity with our participants. And then of course, AFMAM is already done. We just closed only for some of this application. ASEAN Foundation model meetings, which is called AFMAM, is a leadership program. Every year we will open for applications, and you just have to keep watching. And if you are in our social media, you will be actually alerted when we highlight something, when we actually post something, because we always post it and open up for everyone to join. Preparation, of course, as I mentioned, sometimes certain programs, if it's a regional level, you need to have some command of English, some level of command of English, because when they interview you, my team interview you, my managers and all, you need to actually answer certain questions and all that. So unless you are joining your local programmers, because we do have MAM, like leadership programs, AFMAM's spin-off with the local community, which is the youth in each country have their own activities. So you can even join from there. So I think you can always actually connect with us with our website, and then our communication officers also can route you. If you have questions, you can ask. If you are unsure, we can route you to the officers, project managers that actually can answer you. Yeah.
Maybe this is a follow-up question, Dr. Yang, from Nerif from Cambodia. So she's interested in ASEAN Data Science Explorer program, but she's not a data scientist yet, neither having experience in analyzing data. So she would like to know if there's a training provided before she can step in the storyboard writing, or She wished to learn about other programs, maybe such as youth enterprise and youth volunteerism that may be currently ongoing.
Yeah, actually, it's better for you to join the class first, so that you have an understanding what is required, the technical spec of what is required to submit your applications. That's why we work very closely with universities, because we are targeting also at tertiary level students. So what you can do is sometimes, if your university doesn't have the program, you can always approach us, and then we put you in the list. That means your university, when we have the program, we will always send the blast to your university and invite your students and your lecturer to lead it, because we also have train the trainer programs. So the best is actually to get recommend it to university or your lecturers to connect with us, and then be in our alumni list and all that in our database. And every time when we have opening, we will send alert to you. Okay, the questions we ask, like, I'm not Mary, I'm not the data science expert. Can I join? Of course, because this is the time that, why are we having class, is for people to learn. My only worry is if you don't want to learn, you know. So we actually so scared sometimes that we open up something and then your young people say, no, I'm not interested. So that's why we keep on asking response, you know, what do you like? So I do have my communication officer, Anthony, to actually from time to time organize some chatting with youth. What do you like us to do for you? Because we always design something to suit your needs. But for the data analytics, it's already a partnership programs with SAP. I'm sure they are more than happy that you come forward and tell us, actually, you wanted to join the class. Because we only scared. We keep on telling people, hey, come and join, come and join. Actually, we do a lot of publicity and promotions to university and calling for application, calling for participations. So it can be two-way, like it's from the lecturer or from the students to tell the university, we are interested on this course, can we actually participate? So we have two things. One is we train the trainer, and then secondly, we get the school to organize their own session, but we provide the trainer to do the training for your classes and all that. So it's all free, yeah? It's because it's already been, thanks to SAP, yeah? They already pay everything. So our jobs is only to get you to come and benefit from our programs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Yang. I would like to pose a questions to Bapak Rias. There's a question from Rahmat Akbar Berliano from Indonesia. He said, admitting the fact that more than 200 million people on ASEAN, or about 30% is youth, has ASEAN make any specific target or measure from ASEAN for youth on what year and what number that the youth should achieve? If so, how far ASEAN had developed the programs that collaborate these millions of youth?
Okay, thank you. Basically, in ASEAN, we have a sectoral body that is in charge for youth. The name is the Senior Official Meeting on Youth, that then design a program for youth. They have a work plan until the year 2020, and there are a lot of basically list of activities that the youth sectoral body has made. I don't have the data here with me. I have to apologize. But in the work plan, it's a very specifically informed details of the activities, and even activities not just among ASEAN youth, but also with dialogue partners. I think that would be, yeah.
Thank you, Bapak Rias. The next questions, I think, is maybe appropriate directed to Dr. Saleh. So this is the same questions from two persons, from Rahmat and Aisyah Nuraini from Indonesia. In the face of the new normal with the social distancing, and not all of youth are afford to technology, especially in like Indonesia, there are, as an archipelago state, there's also regions included in the frontier, outmost, and least developed regions. But the COVID-19 makes us like cannot do social gathering and so on, and the children to have the join the online class while they even cannot access the internet. So the question is, what youth can do to tackle the problem of this technological inequality in order to minimize the education disruptions?
Okay, great. I think that's a very valid question indeed. And I think, yes, I do agree that it is, very challenging, and it is also difficult in some countries that to have full access to the internet. However, I believe that should not be the excuse. For us not to try always to overcome this issue. But in the same time, if I would like to share NAMA Foundation experience in overcoming this challenge, because it happened for us in Indonesia and in Kyrgyzstan, as well as in Tanzania, by the way, and we have addressed. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
Because one of the participants say as if she does not hear or something, say like this to her ears, Okay. So I think that was the challenge. Actually, we faced few challenges. For example, in Indonesia, there was internet, but the youth or the students, does not have, cannot afford to pay for the internet, which we have to intervene in that aspect. In Kyrgyzstan, there was internet, but there was no devices. Let's say iPads, laptops, or something. So we have to buy devices for the teachers and the students, like laptops, okay? In Tanzania, it is even more difficult and challenging, whereby there was a lack of devices and lack of internet access. So in that regard, what we have made, we have established an online education center, whereby we bought number of devices and secure the internet connection to only that center, because you cannot supply to everywhere, right? And then teachers who would like to prepare, let's say, classes or let's say, lessons, they have to come to that center and prepare that. Then they can, send out through WhatsApp or through social media, right? So I believe there are different ways to approach and to address this issue. And I think with our Asean Foundation and the rest of the colleagues here, I think we also maybe have to have like a brainstorming sessions that how we can really address this issue from different angles. And alhamdulillah, we enjoy like a vast experience in different countries. And by now, I think the pandemic now already 4 to 5 months, right? You find every country has its own, right, experience in addressing this, especially when it comes to online, because the pandemic actually the main subsequent and the main effect of the pandemic that has made all people to work online. All people not, having access to the online learning, right? But they have created and innovated different ideas how to address, to overcome this, challenge. I think with that diversified collective brainstorming session among all stakeholders, either from within the same country or from different countries, I think it's something that can really come up with a few options that can mitigate the risk of the lack of the internet access.
Thank you, Dr. Saleh, for your answers and response. I will move to the next questions addressed to Ibu Dewi Nur Aisyah. For Ibu Dewi, there's two questions as well, but it's kind of synchronized. The first one is from Bayu from Rumah Kepemimpinan. The question is, how does the role of task force COVID-19 in Indonesia in making public health decisions in handling COVID-19? Is it the task force giving the recommendation to government based on data, but then the decisions just put it on the government, or maybe the COVID-19 task force has the right to make a decision in handling COVID-19. And the second one is also to Ibu Dewi, that it's from Hannah. She asked about that Ibu Dewi once said that we shall not solely be the example, but also educating people about the proper health protocol in order to tackle the spread of coronavirus. So how you as yourself have key steps to be taken to realize this idea, especially to those who reluctantly listen to government appeals and not to believe the existence of this virus.
Okay, thank you, Afina. For the first questions, is about the evidence-based decisions and policy. So we know Indonesia has a central government and the provincial government. For the central government, the expert team provide some recommendations based on the data. We provide it to the head of the National Task Force team, and it will be brought to the Rapat Pimpinan Terbatas in the palace with the president. So we provide some evidence, given the evidence to the head of National Task Force, and it will be discussed together with a lot of ministers, with the Mr. President as well. But there is also a coordination between the central government and provincial government. In provincial government, the policy will be made by them. We provide some recommendations. Let's say, okay, we would like to activate the community to have a new normal life. Okay, let's see what is the status of your risk zonations mapping in your area. Are you in a high risk zone? Are you in medium risk zone? And we also have the numbers. We provide, okay, let's see, this is the limitations that you have. You still have a very high number of deaths. You couldn't do this, you should do that. And then we have a coordinations between the central government and the provincial government. We have the data, we provide some recommendations, talking with the provincial expert as well, because they know the main challenges in their places. Every night we have a coordination meeting. Last night with West Java, yesterday with Central Java, 2 days ago with the East Java. In East Java, okay, the problem is because the people wouldn't listen to the government, but they would like to listen with using their own culture. Let's say they have Arema, they have Persebaya, they have Bonek. So using their own sociocultures to have a behavior change in the community, what should be done? We have a coordinations, but by the end of the day, the one who can decide what policy will be implemented in the provincial government is based on the gubernur, the mayor, or governor or wali kota. So the central government provides some recommendations, some suggestions and feedback based on the data that we receive. But at the end of the day, the governor will have the decisions of themselves, but we are still having coordinations between central and local government. The next questions, we know that the main challenge for Indonesia is how we can increase and raising awareness in the community that COVID-19 is real, it's not a conspiracy, and then how we can change the behavior. So by having a new normal, or we have a new behavior, a health behavior that the people will implement. So we need to work together, not only based on the expert. We also need to engage with the anthropology expert, sociology expert, because they know what should be done in their own places. Let's say Jakarta, it will have different interventions with West Java. In East Java, they have different approach. We need to use different approach based on the local culture, local habits that usually done. Who is the people that will have a very big influence among the community? We will have an approach them, have a discussions and conversations, making them understand what is the current situation, what should be done, what is the effect and impact if we do nothing. So there are a lot of things need to be done, but I do believe young people play a very key important roles in changing the behavior among the community. Started from yourself, started with your family, and then your local community. So I think that's all, Avina.
Okay, very much, Dewi,
Yeah.
for your explanation, and thank you for all the
Mhm.
speakers as
Yes.
we have reached the last session.
Mhm.
We actually have several more questions, but I'm afraid that the time does not allow us. So we have to end the first sessions. Maybe if all the speakers, perhaps the questions who's not been addressed in this session, can we like personal message you all and or something so that the one who has the questions can also maybe can have the answer directly from you. Is it okay?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. Sure. So maybe
Sure.
after this, the committee will collect the questions and then send it to directly, and maybe the committee will also share with the participants. So thank you very much to Dr. Yang, Bapak Rias, and Dr. Saleh and Ibu Dewi for the fruitful discussions today. It is indeed very enriching discussions, and how about the young people can contribute in this pandemic situations and can take advantages as a young people of ASEAN to make a resilient community, and also to upgrade ourselves, to empower ourselves to have a certain new normal skills, digital skills, and pursue more creativity. So we are very glad that you are here today to share with us about this topic and discussions. Perhaps any last closing statement from each speaker, maybe from Pak Rias first. Hello? Okay.
Yes, thank you once again for inviting us, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to participate in this event. I think this is a good opportunity for us to discuss, specifically from our side, to promote the sense of your identity as a strength for you to face the challenges. And I think understanding the quality, that is your identity, and the quantity, that is the number of youth in ASEAN, I believe that all of you could face every challenges ahead, hopefully for the better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bapak Rias. The next is Dr. Yang. Please, if you have the closing statement for this session.
Yeah, thank you very much, Avina, for doing a very good job in moderating the sessions. And also, I do hope that this Saturday morning weekend, our sharing will benefit all the youth. Of course, I also agree that there is many challenges coming ahead. So always have a very good, optimistic, and empowering yourself and your people around you. Have more positive mentality to cope with the pandemic, because nothing is easy. Everything we want to do in life, we always have challenge. So now we are put in a very big test, which is pandemic. It's life-threatening, of course, but with the proper care and precautions that we take, and also with the very engage on your high intelligent thinking, put out a cap on pondering. Now is the right time for you to think, what do you want to do? Because the new opportunity is open now. You know, the new frontier for you to explore new things, using your capability, capacity is now there. You know, there's always an opportunity whenever there is some challenges and disruptions in society. So grab it and put out a good thinking about now, ponder and discuss with your friends if you need to. Have some brainstorming among each other, say what you can do for the society, and at the same time create your future path yourself. So always be empowered. And if you don't know anything, you can always ask. There are always very wise people around you, seniors that can actually guide you. So all the best. I want to wish all the youth all the best and be strong because time more people need your energy and your ideas, innovative way to cope with the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yang, for the closing statement. For Dr. Saleh, may I kindly invite you to have a closing statement. Sorry.
Yes, thank you so much indeed, Sister Avina, for the excellent moderation. And thanks once again to RK and all organizers, participants, speakers, to make this happen. And I think such kind of discussions, about pandemic, youth, all these, nowadays, I think it should be ongoing discussions because, the crisis is not over yet. There are, a lot of things need to be settled. And until we really finalize a very stable intervention initiatives to cope with the new normal. So I really encourage RK and all other stakeholders to keep this in mind and organize such kind of events, seminars, workshops to really investigate and assess and conclude, by the end of the day, something that can be used by all stakeholders, either NGOs, institutions, schools, organizations, individuals, either students, youth, or beneficiaries. In general. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Saleh, for the closing statement. And last but not least, to Ibu Dewi. May I kindly invite you to have the closing statement for this session?
Yes. First, thank you very much, Avina, and thank you very much for the committee for organizing this event. We are very proud for every young people who have joined this program. So I believe that young people is the key of change. Young people is the key of movement. So let's use our energy, let's use our creativity, let's use our knowledge, working together, fighting the pandemic. And I do believe with working together, we can solve the problem faster. Thank you very much, Avina, and the committee.
Thank you very much, Ibu Dewi, and all the speakers. Maybe we can online clap for all our remarkable speakers today. And for a token of appreciation, the committee will give all the speakers the digital placards. Okay, so this is for Bapak Rias. Yeah, so this is the digital placard because we cannot give it offline. So this is the digital one. The placard with the photo and the quote from today's speaker. And this is for Dr. Yang Miang from the Asean Foundation. We're really glad that all the speakers can be here today with us and share their thoughtful views on this. And for Dr. Saleh, thank you very much. From Rumah Foundation also. And last but not least, to Ibu Dewi Nur Aisyah, thank you very much for sharing us the valuable information and views for today's session. So, and last but not least, I would like to thank to all the participants who already joined with us from the very beginning of the session, and also to all the committee that has organized the IYCS. We actually have two sessions. Now is the first sessions, and the second sessions, it will start at 5. So maybe we have like 1.5 hour to join the second session. Before I conclude, we would like to give appreciations to the organizers, Rumah Kepemimpinan, along with the ASEAN Foundation, also with the supporters, Asia.co, campaign.com, and Rumah Millennials that support this whole IYCS 2020. So thank you very much for all the participants and the speakers. I hope you have a very insightful morning with this webinar, and see you in the second sessions of the, okay, last but not least, sorry, we will take a photograph together, an online photo. So maybe for the participants, you can turn on the video. So yeah, we will start the photo session now. Maybe the committee can help. Okay. Okay, is it ready? Maybe the committee can make a sign for us. Okay.
Okay. Wait. One, two. Okay. Next slide. Next page. One, two. Okay. Last. One, two. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for kind participation and attention. So we will meet again in the session 2. You can start to click the link at 12:30 GMT +7 Jakarta time. Thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon all. Thank you.